7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
He's an icon, an entertainer, sex symbol, party starter, and beat rocker. He's a motivational speaker, a philanthropist, and an inspiration to others. He achieves all of this and more by professionally dressing as a bad guy. Who is the man behind the helmet and one of the most popular memes on the internet? Allow me to introduce you to Stryder, aka the original Hiphop Trooper. Eugene Stryder Brown, also known as the original Hiphop Trooper, is from Oxford, England. He was born on October 2nd. He is a professional cosplayer, dancer, DJ, and bartender. He is also a member of the 501st Legion, an international organization of Star Wars fans. They are dedicated to the making and wearing of screen-accurate armor and costumes of Star Wars villains. While he mostly cosplays and makes appearances as the Hiphop Trooper, he also cosplays as Boba Fett, a Shadow Scout or Storm Commando, and a Sand Trooper. He mostly uses the Sand Trooper armor during his annual Sand Trooper hike. He and other members of the 501st complete this hike to raise money for charity every year. The Hiphop Trooper is not only known for his unique and stylish take on the Imperial Stormtrooper, but also for his authentic boombox collection. Stryder's father was in the military. While living with his father during his deployment in Homestead Air Force Base in Miami, Florida, Stryder received his first boombox. The boombox was his dad's. Stryder would take it while he was at work. Having traveled a lot due to his father's involvement in the military, Stryder did not have many steady friends as a child. To make up for this, Stryder was in the habit of seeking out other kids who shared his passions. Growing up in the 1980s, Stryder has a deep love for both Star Wars and hip-hop music. As a kid, he would roam around the Air Force Base with his father's boombox, Star Wars action figures, and a large piece of cardboard for breakdancing. He would entice other kids with the sounds of hip-hop artists like Run DMC and LL Cool J. Stryder figured if these other kids loved hip-hop and Star Wars as much as him, they were cool to hang out with. Stryder would form hip-hop crews out of these kids who shared his loves. As an adult, Stryder would live in Atlanta, Georgia. While living in Atlanta, he decided to live out his childhood dream of being a stormtrooper. He took to the internet to buy some stormtrooper armor. He found some armor online and bought it, but when it arrived, he was disappointed by its quality. Still, Stryder decided to have some fun with the armor. Stryder, a fan of the Atlanta Hawks, drew some decals on the armor representing the team. He started to wear the armor to Hawks games and began calling himself the ATL Trooper. While wearing the armor, Stryder would gain a lot of attention. He became a mascot of sorts for the team. He would even get into games for free while wearing the armor. He did this for about a year, but eventually became bored and stopped altogether. In 2009, Stryder decided to attend DragonCon, a pop culture convention that takes place in Atlanta. He decided to remove the Atlanta Hawks stickers from his Stormtrooper armor and wear it to the convention. When he arrived, his armor was poorly received by other Stormtrooper cosplayers. They even went as far as to point and laugh at him. Ashamed of his low-quality armor and its reception, Stryder decided to leave the convention and head home. To make himself feel better, he decided to watch some of his favorite old-school hip-hop movies such as Crush Groove and Wild Style. While watching these movies, he looked across at his Stormtrooper armor. He had an idea. Stryder took his armor and added blue stripes to it, in homage to his favorite hip-hop group, Run DMC. He grabbed his boombox and a gold chain and returned to the convention. Stryder felt that his additions to his armor not only better represented him, but gave him a unique twist versus the other Stormtrooper cosplayers. When he returned to DragonCon, Stryder's new look was a smash hit. His hip-hop twist, along with his natural charisma, resonated with the crowd. He went on to have the time of his life that night. As he would play music from his boombox, dance parties would spontaneously form around him. People partied around Stryder that night until 4 a.m. in the morning. He would have stopped the party a bit earlier, but decided not to once he realized that even the local police were partying and having a good time. After the 2009 Dragon Con, Stryder decided he would return to next year's con prepared. Inspired by the opening dance scene in the film Beat Street, Stryder decided to paint the armor red with white stripes. This was an emulation of the outfits the Beat Street Breakers wore during the scene. He replaced the Stormtrooper boots with red Adidas sneakers and remade the gold chain around his neck. These changes, along with other improvements, gave his armor an impactful, undeniable look. This look would prove extremely popular, and the Hiphop Trooper would go viral through memes and video posts of his famous spontaneous dance-offs at cons. As the Hiphop Trooper would continue to gain fame, another one of Stryder's childhood fantasies would be realized. His favorite hip-hop group, Run DMC, were coming to perform at Turner Field in Atlanta, Georgia. Stryder obviously wanted to attend, but couldn't afford it at the time. Accepting the fact that he would not be able to go to the concert, Stryder received the surprise of his life. A contact from the hip-hop group contacted Stryder through Twitter, saying that Run DMC wanted to meet him in person. Not believing the message to be real, Stryder ignored it at first, but then kept receiving messages from the same contact. Stryder finally responded, decided the message was real, and that he would go to the concert to meet one of his greatest inspirations. After receiving the night off from his job, Stryder arrived backstage at the concert. Here, he was greeted by no other than DMC himself. He ran over to Stryder from an interview and expressed how happy he was to meet him. Stryder was taken aback by this. How could one of his heroes feel that way about meeting him? He was the one that was so happy to meet DMC for the first time. As Stryder watched the performance from backstage, it hit him that the scope of his popularity as the Hiphop Trooper has grown so large as to catch the attention of Run DMC. He decided then to expand his persona as the Hiphop Trooper and build on the fame he was already beginning to experience. Stryder, along with his wife Kim Brown, decided to move to Los Angeles. By the time he arrived in LA, the Hiphop Trooper's fame and popularity had doubled. Stryder went from wearing the armor for appearances only a couple of times a year to doing it on a far more frequent and regular basis. Stryder now has two versions of the Hiphop Trooper armor, the original Adidas armor and the Champion armor, which he made in partnership with Champion. The Hiphop Trooper would build his own boomboxes from two different Lasonic models. He would run into problems with these two boomboxes, such as sound quality and low battery life of expensive D batteries during appearances. Stryder was contacted by a man named Javier. He ran a company at the time named Curious Provisions out of Atlanta. As the Hiphop Trooper, Stryder was building a name for himself in the boombox and hip-hop communities. Because of this, Javier invited him to view some of the custom suitcase boomboxes that his company makes. Stryder took the invitation and met Javier at his store. Stryder was blown away at the modern quality of these boomboxes. They held a charge for over 10 hours and had a crisp, quality sound. Stryder was sold on these boxes and decided he needed one, but experienced a bit of sticker shock once he viewed their prices. He asked Javier if he could strike him a deal. Javier responded that he and his company were planning on making and giving him a box as a promotional item. All they asked for in return is that he carried around the box and promote their name while dressed as the Hiphop Trooper. Stryder immediately agreed to this deal. Curious Provisions created a box to the Hiphop Trooper specifications, and the Death Star Thumper was born. The Hiphop Trooper was very happy with his new box and would gain even more attention from the boombox community with it. He became a legend due to the box's quality. Nowadays, the Hiphop Trooper owns 9 custom boomboxes ranging from 18 to 45 pounds. Regarding the annual Sand Trooper hike, it is something Stryder started doing in 2014. He decided he wanted to complete something challenging in order to raise money for the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. He would hike around Griffith Park in LA in full Sand Trooper armor to raise money. He reached out to the Route 66 Sand Trooper Detachment of the 501st Legion to join him. In 83-degree weather, Stryder and his Sand Trooper companions completed the hike and raised close to $1,000 for the hospital. Since then, Stryder, the Route 66 Sand Troopers, and others complete this hike annually. In 2017, they raised a high of $4,261 for St. Jude's. In 2018, Stryder completed the hike in his Hiphop Trooper gear for the first time. Currently, Stryder resides in Nashville, Tennessee. He still bartends. He will continue making appearances as the Hiphop Trooper. His next event will be at the Westgate Resort in Las Vegas for ToyCon. Stryder, the original Hiphop Trooper, considers himself an ambassador of old school hip hop. He uses his love for Star Wars as a conduit to deliver the positive message of confidence, love, and togetherness that early 80s hip hop represented. He looks to bring the joy of old school hip hop and Star Wars to as many people as possible. Stryder is a Star Wars geek, an old school hip hop head, boombox king, and yes, a bit of a perfectionist. Above all, Stryder, the original hip hop trooper, is a selfless individual who promotes his friends and followers to love themselves, love others, and to give graciously to those in need.